Hello and welcome to my presentation. In this presentation, I provide business insight for an international retailer operating 10 stores in the Netherlands. The company's challenge is clear. Monthly sales vary substantially across stores, from around 75,000 euros to 180,000 euros, which creates major differences in revenue and ultimately profit. My goal is to identify what is most likely driving those differences, and to translate that into practical, evidence-based action. I structured the presentation exactly across the three required parts. First, I define a research problem and propose an analysis approach that fits the dataset and the business question. Second, I use critical thinking to interpret what the analysis would mean in Dutch retail context and propose solutions that are realistic and implementable. Third, I reflect on team collaboration and the interpersonal skills used during in-class exercise, including conflict handling and leadership and followership. The business problem is that stores within the same chain perform very differently, and management doesn't yet know which operational and contextual factors explain that variation. This matters because without understanding performance drivers, the company risks allocating staff and marketing budgets based on intuition rather than evidence. My research question is therefore designed as a casual relational question. How do store size, staff count, marketing spend, customer satisfaction, location type, competitor density, and online integration relate to monthly sales performance? Um, Monthly sales is the dependent variable, and the other factors are predictors. I also separate predictors into quantitative and categorical variables, because that affects how we analyze them. Importantly, I would recommend collecting additional variables that are highly uh, plausible drivers in retail, such as foot traffic, local demographics, rent and operating costs, store age, and seasonality, because these can explain performance beyond internal operations and reduce omitted variable bias and in interpretation, strengthening the research design. Before running any model, descriptive statistics already give management useful signals. Across the 10 stores, average monthly sales are about 122,000 euros, but the standard deviation is high, about 35,000 euros, which confirms substantial depression uh, when we split by location type. Urban stores average roughly 152,000 euros, suburban stores about 101,000, and rural stores around 80,000. That pattern suggests location context matters, potentially through differences in demand density, customer flow, and competitive dynamics. We also observe that stores with larger size, more staff, higher marketing spend, and higher customer satisfaction tend to have higher sales. However, a critical analytical issue appears immediately. Many predictors move together. For example, location type and online integration may be closely intertwined in this dataset, and operational variables may be highly correlated. This creates multicollinearity risk, so the model must be designed and interpreted carefully, emphasizing explanation and decision support rather than overconfident casual claims. It's not. Sorry. To answer the research question appropriately, I would use a hierarchical multiple regression. Multiple regression fits the data structure because the dependent variable is continuous monthly sales, and we have multiple predictors that may jointly explain performance. I choose a hierarchical approach because it aligns with managerial reasoning. First, control for context variables such as location type and competitor density, then add operational inputs like store size, staff and marketing spend, and finally add customer experience and digital integration variables. Um, this blockwise approach allows us to quantify how much additional explanatory power each block provides using change in squared, while also comparing standardized coefficients to prioritize drivers. However, I would be explicit about limitations. The sample is only 10 stores, which reduces statistical power and makes coefficients unstable. Multi, sorry, sorry. Multicollinearity is also likely because predictors may overlap strongly. Therefore, results should be treated as decision support and hypothesis generator, not as a definitive causal proof. My analysis plan starts with descriptive statistics. I would compute central tendency and variations for each quantitative variable and compare average sales across location, categories, and online integration levels. Next, I would run diagnostics because regression without diagnostics is like driving with a blindfold and good vibes. Um Specifically, I would examine correlations among predictors, calculate VIF to detect multicollinearity, inspect residual plots for linearity and inspect residual plots for linearity and homoscedasticity, and use influence diagnostics such as Cook's distance to ensure that one store is not dominating conclusions. Then I would run hierarchical regression in three blocks. First, contextual controls, then operational levers, and finally customer and digital factors. In expected insight, I anticipate positive relationships for store size and staffing, but marketing may have diminishing returns, and the effect of marketing may differ by location type. The practical value is strong. The company can forecast sales for new locations, identify why specific stores underperform, and allocate resources, marketing, and staffing based on evidence and expected return on investment. In the Dutch retail industry, store performance variation is not just an internal management issue. It connects to broader market pressure. Consumer behavior has shifted toward digital and omnichannel shopping, and the competition is intense, which means underperforming stores become expensive liabilities quickly. Government data on retail trends indicates structural change in turnover patterns and shopping behavior, so the context is dynamic rather than stable. At the same time, I apply critical lens to the KPI. Monthly sales is a valuable performance indicator, but if we optimize only for sales, we may accidentally encourage short-term tactics that harm long-term competitiveness, such as discounting that erodes margins and under investing in customer experience. Strong retailers is increasingly rely on analytics to optimize location decisions, staffing, and targeted marketing. The key insight from the research design is that drivers are likely context dependent. What works in dense urban areas may fail in rural markets, so solutions should be differentiated, not uniform. My proposed solution is a structured evidence-based approach rather than a single tactics. The core principle is loop. Diagnose using the analysis, intervene with the targeted changes, and then measure outcomes. First, I recommend a store driver audit focused on the predictors that show the strongest estimated relationships with sales. For example, if staffing intensity appears most influential, the intervention is workforce optimization, improving coverage during peak times and enhancing series quality. If marketing spend is influential, the intervention is not simply spend more, but redesign campaigns locally, improve channel mix, and track conversion. Um, if customer satisfaction is influential, prioritize service recovery processes and training. Second, use a location-specific metrics because context matters. Urban high performance become model stores whose practices are standardized. Urban low performance need urgent fixes around conversion and assortment. Need urgent fixes around conversion and assortment. Suburban and rural stores should prioritize efficiency and local relevance. Third, make omnichannel investment conditional on evidence. Invest where integration actually improves resilience and sales. To make the solution real, I translate it into an implementation roadmap with evaluation built in. In the first month, the company should finalize diagnostics, establish baseline KPIs, and implement quick wins such as improved staff scheduling aligned to demand and local promotional adjustment. In months 1 to 3, the company should run controlled pilots in a small number of stores. Pilots, ideally selecting one urban, one suburban, and one rural store to test interventions and measure uplift against baseline performance. From months 3 to 6, successful interventions can be scaled across the network, and the company can formalize updated budgeting rules and the store playbook that documents best practices. For evaluation, the focus should be on measurable impact, pre-post comparisons, pilot-based learning, and return on investment tracking (ROI), while avoiding the trap of assuming correlation proves causality. Finally, the framework transfers well into to other businesses' challenges, inventory, pricing, returns, and conversions, but barriers include data quality, small sample, and context differences across markets. In the in-class exercises, our team of 5 moved through the classic stages of group development described by Tuckman: forming, storming, norming, performing, and adjuring. Early on, we were careful and slightly uncertain, so I acted mainly as an information seeker, asking questions to clarify what the task required and what the dataset could support. As we progressed, I shifted into a coordinator role, helping structure the conversation, ensuring everyone contributed, and dividing tasks so we could move efficiently. During analysis discussions, I also took a evaluator role. I challenged assumptions, asked what evidence support a claim, and encouraged us to connect methodological choices to the research question. In real businesses environment, this combination is critical. Analytical work without collaboration fails to get implemented, and collaboration without analytical rigor produces nice meetings and weak decisions. The point of transversal skills is integrating both credible, actionable outcomes. A concrete conflict occurred when two team members disagreed on which variable should be prioritized. One argued marketing spend is most important, while another argued location type to demonstrate performance. This was a task conflict, not personal conflict, but it could have escalated. My approach, my approach, sorry, my approach was to reframe the discussion from opinions into evidence by proposing a quick preliminary correlation check and then interpreting what that evidence can and cannot tell us. This shifted the tone from debate, to analysis. At the same time, I focused on protecting relationships. I used active listening, restating each person's point to confirm understanding, and I communicated assertively using statements. So I did not invalidate anyone. Emotional intelligence helped me notice rising tension and slow the pace before it became personal. And my learning point is that while data-based reasoning is powerful, it must be balanced with empathy because not everyone experiences conflict as a technical problem to solve. And thank you for your attention.